On January 4th, 1913, Alfred von Schlieffen, the German field marshal who developed the strategy that his nation implemented at the beginning of World War I, dies in Berlin at age 79, less than 2 years before the war begins, and his plan is set in motion.
But what was the Schlieffen Plan? And why did it ultimately fail?
In the lead up to World War I, Europe has a system of alliances, and a future war for Germany on two fronts against France and Russia seems certain. In 1905, von Schlieffen develops a plan to avoid a two-front war. The so-called Schlieffen Plan is essentially this: hit France first with everything you've got. France is close geographically, and its military is strong, and it can mobilize quickly. Speed is essential, so you need to cut through neutral Belgium. The goal is to take Paris in just 40 days. Once Paris is in German hands, von Schlieffen's plan is to then hit Russia. Because the distances are greater and because Russia is less prepared to begin effectively fighting right away, Schlieffen believes you can leave your eastern border exposed during those 40 days you need to knock out France. The plan nearly works. In 5 weeks, the Germans are just 25 miles from Paris. So why does the Schlieffen Plan fail? Well, number one, it's not executed fully. The German generals are unwilling to pull sufficient troops from the Russian border and send them to the Western Front. This is partly out of necessity, since Russia is able to mobilize more quickly than von Schlieffen anticipated. Another reason the Schlieffen Plan fails is that maintaining sufficient supply lines is impossible. This slows the Germans down in their push west. But perhaps the biggest reason the Schlieffen Plan fails is that cutting through neutral Belgium brings Britain into the fight, due to a pre-war alliance between the two nations. Britain quickly sends troops across the English Channel to aid the French, honoring its agreement to defend Belgium. This combined Anglo-French force halts the Germans at the First Battle of the Marne. Both sides dig in. The result is the devastating trench warfare that characterizes the fighting in World War I. The Great War becomes a 4-year war of attrition that results in millions of dead on both sides. Here are other events that happened today in history. In 1847, Samuel Colt wins a contract to provide 1,000 of his .44 caliber revolvers to the U.S. government. In 1960, World War II veteran Marty Robbins hits number 1 in the U.S. with his gunfighter ballad El Paso. In 1990, 2 trains collide in Pakistan, killing over 200 people in the worst rail accident in the country's history. In 1995, for the first time in 40 years, Republicans assume control of both houses of the U.S. Congress. In 1996, GM announces that it will build an electric car, the EV1, which is launched later that year. In 2007, Nancy Pelosi of California becomes the U.S.'s first ever female Speaker of the House. In 2022, 23 years after the release of the 850 pager, legacy services for BlackBerry mobile devices end. And now, it's time for our Today in History quiz. During the 17th century, approximately how many divorces occurred per year in the North American colonies of Massachusetts and Connecticut? 0, 1, 10, or 100? Liked learning about the Schlieffen Plan? Then you'll enjoy this one about a World War I explosion that leveled a Canadian town. Tap the screen to keep the story going on Today in History.